Hello, my name's Barry James. I'm founder of the Crowdfunding Centre and the Crowd Data Centre. We collect data on crowdfunds from across the world. That's particularly equity crowdfunds and rewards crowdfunds. As you can see, we've got more than 220 or 200,000 crowdfunds. At the time of speaking, it's nearly 220,000 crowdfunds and mounting at the rate of 400 to 500 per day. So a wealth of data uh, through which we are able to view crowdfunding. One of the most exciting things about crowdfunding is the way that it has and is transforming the entrepreneur's journey. And this is the diagram that we've devised to help to illustrate this. So let's take a bit of a trip through this and we'll see how we can bring out some of those aspects. So on the left hand side here we have the traditional journey, always starting with an idea of course, but maybe some market research over a period of time, and the challenge of writing a business plan, often an unfamiliar process for a lot of entrepreneurs, and then of course into the cycle of finding interested investors and pitching to them, which is very much an open-ended process, and to be clear, sort of pitching to people who are under all sorts of their own kinds of constraints in terms of the kind of things that they can invest in, and other agendas and so on. So unsurprising that on any given day, any given pitch, there's much less than 1% chance of moving forward to the next stage, so a 99% chance of rejection in effect. So that can be a positive process or a negative one, but fundamentally it's a process of rejection. So assuming we get through that stage, there's a negotiation to be done here to get to terms and so on. And once all that's successful, we get funded, and at this stage can really begin to engage with, starting the business, with the market, with the fit between the product and the market, ways to reach the market, and so on. Which on the right hand side here, starting with a Kickstarter style rewards crowdfunding, are exactly the things that we're engaging with right from the very beginning, thinking in a very focused way about exactly those things: the market, the product, the fit between the two, how we're going to reach the market. Because at the point at which we launch a crowdfund, we need answers to some very focused questions, because the crowdfund itself is going to answer one very, very important question, and that is, can this team find a sufficiently large market of people, a large enough crowd prepared to fund this idea? And that's the crucial question as to whether the idea, the proposition, is viable or not. So it's a very focused process. It's a very combined process, because having made our video and mounted it online, we're not going to a lot of different places. A lot of people are coming to us. And as a result of that, we are gathering not people who have rejected the idea, but people who are positive and are supportive of the idea and of the proposition. And overall, the success rate is around 25%. In fact, in the UK last year, it was 27%. And that includes a large chunk of people who've done very little or no preparation or haven't got a good idea. So actually the success rate is astonishingly high, and proving that there's a very different dynamic going on here, because what we have when we come out the other end of that is a venture that's proven that there's a market and that the team can reach the market. We now have a venture that has revenues. has customers already on board, and has a, a full order book, um, no debt burden, and hasn't lost any equity. And that is, putting it all together, very much the profile of an investable company. So in terms of funding, seed funding, new ventures, this is a really interesting new model with a much higher, even natively, even without intervention, a much higher success rate. And putting the entrepreneur here, having been through a very much more intensive process here, we're investing a lot of energy, but in a relatively short space of time, and very little money, little or no money. Putting the entrepreneur in a position with choices here, because increasingly those investable businesses that have received their initial seed funding, have their initial customers, and are looking at initial revenues, can hop over here into more traditional markets, so angel markets and even VC markets, or they can go through to equity crowdfunding, or some of them will go it alone for a longer period of time and maybe take lending on. But fundamentally, from the entrepreneur's point of view, this is solving a great problem and opening a new way, a new opportunity, and a whole new route, in fact, to getting the venture funded, to getting it off the ground in the first place, to proving it, which is very, very spare, very lean and mean. From an overall point of view, this is a great new way of getting ventures created and supporting entrepreneurs. It's a new model. So there are some, really important differences here. Hope that you found this diagram and the run through useful. As I mentioned earlier, we have a mountain of data at the Crowd Data Center, as well as tools for crowdfunders to help them through the process. Unbiased information at the Crowdfunding Center, the Crowd Data Center. Hope you'll join me there. Thank you for listening.